All right, Joe. Welcome back. I believe this is our 8th. I went back to counting, I guess. How are you doing this weekend?
I thought I had coronavirus.
Yeah, that's right. You went and got a little test done. How you feeling?
I'm feeling pretty good. It was just a head cold, but I work at a hospital, so I'm
Anything's
pretty
possible.
much gonna get tested.
You're either gonna have a cold, corona, or AIDS at some point.
Right, exactly. Anthony, do you want to tell them who covered the last 4 hours of my shift and how the calamity had ensued on my text messages?
On your text messages?
Yeah. How I got text messages from from a drunken Anthony after his shift.
Oh yeah, yeah. I had to cover some of Joe's shift because he called in sick. Oh, and by the way, Joe's corona test came back negative, so he doesn't have corona.
I don't have corona.
He's not sitting here in front of me spitting germs all over my face, which I appreciate.
Not corona germs anyway.
Well, they're germs, but not corona ones. Yeah. How was that test, by the way? They poke your brain a little?
I can't do math anymore. Not like I could to begin with, but
yeah, not very well.
Like I couldn't. They definitely. The funny thing is because I have such a jacked up nose and like the nasal passages
Right.
are all screwed up. They have to instead of going straight back, they have to kind of go to the side to get it to where it needs to go.
Of course.
And the lady jammed it up there, and I go, ugh. She goes, oh, that's weird, and comes in again and goes through kind of to the side of my nose. And she was like, okay, I got it. She was like, are you okay? I was like, yeah, I didn't bleed this time, so it's fine. She's like, oh, you bled? And I was like, no, I'm just playing. I didn't bleed, but yeah, that was not. Once is fine, but when she jams it into your cartilage,
oh, that's membrane.
she's like, oh, and then jams it up there again. It just makes for a really bad situation. And the wife had to get tested because she thought she had it. We both don't have it. So, that's good, right? Because no one wants fucking corona.
Especially not in the home, because you'll have to quarantine anyway.
How am I going to quarantine in my tiny ass little home?
Yeah.
I'm just going to lock myself in the bathroom.
With a child.
Right, with a child who now knows how to open doors.
Great.
All right, that's just going to get rough. But just recently, I had to put him in a toddler bed because the cage wasn't working anymore because he found his way out of it.
Nice.
No, he I don't know how he did it. We don't have a camera in his room. We just have an old school baby monitor because, we're poor. And he decided he wanted to climb up his crib somehow, get out of his crib. Now, his crib, it comes up to about his chin, so he can peek over it. That's
right.
About as far as it goes. So somehow this kid decided to, what I can only imagine is jump it like a grown man would jump a fence.
Yeah, yeah.
He gets out and just starts playing in his room. So yeah, the crib is done because all I need that kid to do is fall from the height of his crib onto the floor. He smacks his head. I'm worried about his head, but he's going to put a nasty ding in the floor. I'll mention he could break his neck or something.
Have you thought about putting like a plush wrestler in the bed so that way when he climbs up the gate, instead of climbing out of the crib, he just body slams the guy?
3 count. He's done. He does do that every once in a while. He used to go to his crib. He'll pick up his Mickey Mouse and just huck it out of his crib. And he'll just throw everything out of his crib. And he'll giggle about it because I'll hear it on the monitor.
Because he's king of the ring.
You'll hear this pink. Pink. It's so funny. But yeah, he started opening doors. He's trying to figure out how to get the gates open. If he sees the front door open, he will absolutely rush you to try to get out. Jeez. Or take you with him. Tonight, it took me 5 minutes to get out of the door because I had to shoo him backwards. No, dude, you can't come with me. You can't even talk. How are you going to be on a podcast? I also realized I talk to my son like he's a grown-ass human.
Considering some child rearings I've witnessed in my life, I feel like that's more appropriate than baby talking.
Exactly.
I've known kids who grew up with lisps just because their parents never stopped fucking baby talking them.
Oh, that sounds horrible.
Yeah, it's pretty upsetting. Also,
my wife yells at me all the time because I call my child explicit names, but I don't mean to. I think I'm talking to one of an adult If I call you guys horrible things at work, it just comes out when I go
So
home.
at school, instead of having a lisp, he's just going to shout at people and call them terrible names. Because that's all he knows.
We were having a discussion the other day, me and our other coworker Jeremiah, while we were on shift. He was like, Joe, I feel like the kid is definitely... He could come out like your wife and be a wonderful person. Or he could come out like you and like legitimately try to like go on playground conquests and steal other kids' balls, and like he's now king of the sandlot, and now you have to fight him to be the other king of the sandlot, and it's just a Lord of the Flies type situation, and this is why he's gonna be homeschooled.
Seems like a good idea. Then he can only beat you up.
He does legitimately beat me up. I fell asleep on the couch for like 20 minutes the other day. He decides to walk up and wake me up with a 5-finger face slap. Just big. And I was like, what the hell? I wake up and like, Ashton, why would you do that? He goes, and like goes back to watching Thomas or whatever he was doing. Long story short, Anthony, just don't have kids. Don't do it.
I like how you're babysitting your own son, and he's the responsible one to wake you up when you fall asleep.
Hey, man. Hey, I'm just saying. I was working 12s and 16s that week, and it was rough. The wife had to run errands, and family life is hard.
Yeah, so. Speaking of working extra, when you took off, I covered part of your shift. And I won't go into detail about what happened, because I probably legally can't, but everything went to hell. Which is quite entertaining.
Everything always goes to hell, yeah. While I'm there or not.
Yeah, telling Joe about it in hindsight, it's pretty funny, but at the moment, my blood was boiling. And when I got home, I had a little bit of McGillicuddy's left, so that went straight down my throat. And,
just came out on my phone.
It came out on his phone. I was texting him about it, telling him he was a bastard. The usual. I mean, it's not like...
You're very censoring yourself there, Anthony. Some of these texts are very explicit.
I thought I just went on about how much I wanted to drink. I don't remember yelling at you.
Who does a bunch of McGillicuddies? Who out there drinks McGillicuddies?
I was suckered into trying the butterscotch.
Was it Jim?
Yeah.
I feel like it was Jim.
It was Jim. And it's not that it didn't taste like butterscotch, because it did. But it tastes like butterscotch, but also like scotch just punched you in the throat. I don't know if I'll get it again, but I mean, if I felt like I wanted to mix something with a butterscotch flavor, it was fine.
I mean, it's a great... McGillicuddies can be a great mixer, but like... One day you'll grow up and just drink whiskey like a goddamn adult, Anthony.
The funny thing is I started on gin, so apparently I'm just de-aging with alcohol.
Yeah, why would you start with gin? Who
I don't
hurt
fucking
you?
know. Every
It's
life.
just like dry. It's just like dry pine needles.
I liked it with squirt, dude. Leave me alone.
Okay, maybe with squirt, but like for some reason I thought you were drinking it on the rocks, and I'm like, you're a fucking psychopath.
Oh, I definitely did drink it on the rocks.
Let's just eat a fucking birch tree. You might as well just start stuffing acorns in your mouth. Get that nature flavor in
Hibernate for winter and stuff like that. Yeah, the first time I got, I think it was the first time I got drunk. I remember just drinking glass after glass of gin and squirt, playing video games online with friends, eating flaming hot Cheetos. Spoiler alert, that's a bad idea.
I was going to say, like, my stomach hurts just thinking about it.
And I felt good. I felt fine. I mean, obviously I was like trashed. I tried to go to bed and the bed starts spinning. So Anthony had a genius idea. He decided to go grab his dad's collectible Jägermeister bucket to put by his bed.
Oh, no.
So I went to bed feeling good about myself. Like, I got a bucket. I'm a smart guy. I'm not going to vomit all over the floor. I vomited right into the bucket. Wake up in the morning. I missed that fucking bucket. And it was flaming hot Cheetos. So the carpet was stained. Like, just stained.
Oh, no.
It's probably still stained in that spot.
Like
this was at my
orange.
parents' place, yeah.
Oh,
Oh yeah,
man.
Yeah, if I didn't know better, which I did because I was sober and in pain at that point, but if I didn't know better, I would have thought I vomited blood.
Yeah, that's... Oh, God, I'm surprised you didn't vomit blood. I mean, just from eating the goddamn flaming hot.
The acid just tore away my stomach.
Like, oh, God. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've had some wild drunken adventures. I've seen a man get knocked out with a burrito. Well, not knocked out, but definitely knocked down by a drive-by burritoing.
I wish people would throw burritos at me.
I mean, they did. It make my life a lot easier. Like, if people just started handing out burritos, I mean, we could do a whole episode on just drunk stories from me.
Hell yeah.
But, like, I mean, I'd totally be up to it at some point. But, what's our topic today? What fucking weeb shit are we gonna get into?
Yeah, so I guess I was inspired to research the topic of MMORPGs, and if you don't know what that acronym means, it means a massively multiplayer online role-playing game, which is kind of a mouthful. All you have to know is that hundreds or thousands or hundreds of thousands of nerds like me get on the internet and play a video game together where they can speak to and play with other hundreds of thousands of nerds.
I just died a little bit inside.
I know. This is exactly the antithesis
this
of
is like the
what you exist for. Yeah.
This is going to be a really interesting episode because I'm going to go in on you fucking turds.
So this is your World of Warcraft. Everybody's probably heard of World of Warcraft at this point, right?
Which is WoW.
Yeah, if you've ever heard of WoW, they're probably talking of World of Warcraft. That's like the most well-known one. There are a few others out there. I actually just started playing Final Fantasy XIV again.
Of course you would.
Yeah, that's an online one. So it's part of why I decided I wanted to do this topic this week was I started playing that again. But there are so many other types of MMOs, and I actually want to touch on a question, Joe, that you asked me before we started recording. So you said, do you play World of Warcraft? And I said, I didn't really. I've played a few levels of it. I leveled up a few times in it, but that was about it. And you said...
What kind of garbage ass nerd are you?
That's not what you said.
I thought you were the expert here.
You said that I play Dungeons and Dragons, and it's basically the same thing.
Well, it is.
And there are a lot of similarities. I'm not gonna argue that.
See, he admitted I was right.
But I think there are enough differences that could explain why I don't enjoy WoW, but I do enjoy D&D. So D&D is a lot more...
It sounded real sexual. It didn't mean to, but like, I don't really enjoy WoW, but put me in a dungeon, that's a whole nother story.
You want to load up some S&M with me, then maybe I'll think about it.
You know what? Not going to go there.
What is S?
I'm not going down there.
Also, wait, there's S and M is what I meant.
It's also called BDSM. You need to get with BDSM. The times, all right? You need to get with the times.
It's with the times thing. It's existed for a long time.
All I know is that's a phrase. I don't know, some 50 Shades of Gay or whatever they did there.
So with Dungeons and Dragons, it's a lot more like character focused, role play focused. You're probably playing with a smaller group of people. I think I'm playing with a group that's like 7 people, which is kind of a lot.
I mean, didn't know you had that many friends.
I know, it's amazing, isn't it?
Are they really friends, or are they just kind of like, I'm gonna shit on this guy once a week?
Some of them it's questionable, but others, some of them are my enemies. But yeah, I mean, the fun thing with D&D is you're a lot more focused on telling the story of the character you're playing as, or coming up with creative solutions to problems, which is what you kind of latched onto when we talked about D&D.
Yeah, and you told me I couldn't do 90% of it.
I mean... There are some rules that need to be followed. Otherwise, the game just turns into anarchy.
What do you think I'm here for, Anthony?
With MMORPGs, it's not that these things can't totally be accomplished, but they're not really accomplished in the same way. It's not done quite as well. I would say if you're loading into an MMO like completely fresh, you don't really know what you're looking for, you're probably not going to have a good time. A lot of the times you're going to be what people call grinding. It's kind of like the same thing as working. It's the old grind, You get in, you are expected to level up to maximum level, and that can take a long time. There are aspects that make it quicker, but it can take a while, which is why they call it the grind.
Yeah, because nerds don't have lives.
Yeah,
that is their life.
It's easier if you live with your mom, right? Nerds. But at any rate, that's kind of what I don't particularly enjoy about MMOs.
Dungeon nerds.
there are finer aspects. I've been in like what is colloquially known as guilds. So a guild is like a group of players that get together, typically with an in-game mechanic. And you usually get a benefit from being in a guild. Like maybe it's easier to do the grind, or maybe you get like a bonus to your health or some of your stats because you're playing with these other players. But it's also a community. I mean, you get to chat with each other and ask each other questions. If you're still new to the game, they might know your class better than you do and or know how to teach you to be aware of certain things that you need for your character.
Are there elves in this game, Anthony?
Well, I'm not talking about one game. World of Warcraft does have several elves. It has night elves, blood elves.
Whoa, that sounds kind of cool. What is a blood elf?
A blood elf.
Is it like Blade?
So again, I'm not perfect with World of Warcraft. I know a lot more about orcs because orcs are rad as fuck.
Okay, well then tell me why orcs are rad as fuck. Fuck blood elves.
But well, you asked about elves, and I'll tell you what I think I know about elves. But I'm kind of in the same page as you with D&D with elves, where I'm like, fuck elves.
See, look, you're already coming to my side, man.
Blood elves, if I'm remembering correctly, they basically treat mana like it's crack cocaine. And from like birth,
Jesus.
like they're crack babies. Like from birth, they are addicted to it. So they're kind of like fucked up on shit all the time, and withdrawing a lot.
So like half of this area's population is actually just blood elf.
I mean, yeah. There are probably like greater locations in the world that are like, this is the blood elf city, and they're all probably
it's Rockford.
Yeah, they're all probably like dealing on the streets or trying to, buy your fucking mana rocks from you or whatever. Yeah, I like orcs in World of Warcraft because, and my knowledge of their past might be a little bit shaky because there have been a couple retcons in the series.
What's a retcon?
A retcon is when they decide to go back and change something that was pre-established. So originally,
so retconning is kind of what I do in my reports at work
all the time. Yeah. In Warcraft, because before it was World of Warcraft, there was a series of games called Warcraft. The orcs were the bad guys, pretty strictly.
They're always the bad guys. The orcs get shit on.
They do, and World of Warcraft actually changes that a bit.
Orcs' lives matter.
So instead of just being the bad guys who decided to go drink demon blood and have a good time, they have kind of an updated backstory. They come from another planet and got to the planet that the game takes place in, which I think is Azeroth, through a portal that was made by like a community with demons. But before they communed with demons, they were a shamanistic people. They basically lived like, I guess, what you assume Native Americans lived like. They hunted.
This is getting way crazy. So, like, aliens are fucking demons and now they're shamans?
Oh, the demons, not yet. Don't worry about the demons just yet. Oh. But yeah, they had shamans. They were in touch with the elements and stuff like that. Except, like, legitimately, like, they could speak with, like, the spirits of the wind and fire and shit like that.
Oh, like Pocahontas.
Sure.
But, like, ugly.
Yeah.
Orcs are ugly, right?
Yeah, they can be, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen.
I mean, yeah, they're a little like surly, they've got that kind of like rock face, you know what I mean? They're beefy dudes, but they're also like kind of ugly dudes.
Where are you going with this, Anthony?
You're the vain one who's assuming I'm talking about you. But yeah, eventually this one orc decides, his whole goal is
to go fuck a demon.
Close. His whole goal is he wants power. Just straight up power. It doesn't matter where it comes from or why he has it. He wants to be the strongest there is. His name is Gul'dan. And Gul'dan's one of my favorites because he's a fucking piece of shit.
Like in Power Rangers.
Not Goldar, but fine. Good enough. We'll call him Goldar. Whatever.
Yeah.
So he basically, and I think the guy he directly worked under also got this message from demons, essentially, which I think they have like another name. They're not just demons, but I don't remember what it was. They're all demons, but they were like, hey, we'll give you a fuck ton of power. And of course Gul'dan, while he doesn't openly jump up at the idea, in his heart he's like, fuck yeah, I want that. So he's able to, through his backhanded ways, through his like evil political power, he's able to convince a good number of orcs that like, we need this power. our planet is going to be tapped for resources someday, and we want to be strong enough to go to another planet and take that shit. So
Why not just defend your own planet? You don't have to be an asshole about it.
Well, that would be the smart way of going about it. But Gul'dan wanted power, remember, and he didn't care how he got it.
Okay, fair enough.
So he tricks the orcs into taking the demon's offer, which is to drink demon blood. And when they drink blood, they get some of their demonic powers, and their skin like changes to green in some cases. This is kind of a weird retcon thing, because there are red orcs too, or like brown orcs, but I guess the green ones are the ones that are like demon touched, whatever. It's weird. And this does give them a lot of power, but it also kind of like fucks up their connection with the elements, and it fucks up their connections with their planet. And eventually, through casting their demonic magic, they're also taking the planet's life force. So that's kind of fucked up. So obviously, eventually they get to the point where like, well, we need to go to another planet.
Fuck this planet anyway. Yeah. They were jumping off that ship.
Yeah. So the demons help them build a portal that takes them to Azeroth. And there...
Wait, Asgard?
Asgard. And there they start,
Is that where Goldar is?
Yes. There they start, they encounter the humans that mostly take up the planet. There are all kinds of other races on Azeroth.
Like those fucking elves?
Like elves, yeah. And it basically big-ass war starts out, and now the planet's basically split into two factions. There's the people who are fighting with the orcs that are become called the Horde, and
that's kind of dope.
The people that work with the humans, and also just various other races that obviously don't want orcs taking over their planet, called the Alliance. But I want to tell you about... I read a book that was backstory for Warcraft, and I want to tell you about this one scene. I want to tell you about this one scene with Gul'dan, and I fucking love it. It's awesome.
Gul'dan.
So it opens up from the perspective of this orc that you've never been introduced to. He's some random nobody orc. He's just someone else who works in the army, right? In the military. And the orcs have just captured dragons and are using them as mounts. They're riding dragons through the skies.
Oh, that's scary as
yeah.
shit.
And this orc, it starts telling you, like, dude, this guy has always wanted to fly. He's always dreamed of flying. Flying has been his big thing. And now he's tamed a dragon, and he gets to do it for real. He gets to fly.
Oh, I saw that movie, How to Tame Your Dragon.
Exactly, yeah. He was red and toothless to this guy. And
that's a cool image.
He's flying out over the coast. He's doing his patrol. And he sees some boats pulling away from the coast. And he recognizes it as Gul'dan's complement of soldiers. So he flies down closer. And by the way, at this point, Gul'dan wasn't supposed to leave the coast. He was expressly told to stay on the coast. So he's flying down closer, and he's like, "Hey, Gul'dan, you got to turn around. Where are you going? You're not supposed to leave.
Set your boat on fire with this dragon fire."
So Gul'dan gives him a little, like, raises his hand to his ear. He's like, What? What'd you say? I couldn't hear you."
Slap him with a dragon tail.
So he flies down closer, and he's saying again, like, "Hey, Gul'dan, you gotta turn around. You're not supposed to be going this far out." And Gul'dan's like, "I still can't hear you. Come a little bit closer so I can hear you better." So this guy flies a little bit closer to the boat, and he gets just within range of Gul'dan's fucking drain life magic. Gul'dan fucking just casts magic at this dude and his dragon, takes their fucking souls, and you read about this guy, this orc that you were just introduced to, dropping into the cold ocean and drowning.
Jesus.
It's so fucking evil, and it's amazing.
So Gul'dan is basically Jeff Bezos.
You got me with that one. What? I've heard the name. What are you referencing?
Head of Amazon. When you sign up for Amazon, you just lose your
soul. Yep, yeah.
He collects your soul, and you're done now.
Yeah, it's your soul. It's his soul now, and
now I'm just drowning in a ocean full of shit I really don't need.
Ads and things I don't want.
Gul'dan is dead now. No, wait, no, he's got somebody's soul.
He took somebody's soul, but Gul'dan is dead now. There are later events that play out through the story, and it doesn't resolve in Gul'dan's death. I mean,
it sucks.
When you're a megalomaniac and all you care about is power, eventually something's gonna kill you.
Yeah, or something or someone.
So he got what he deserved. I mean, he's a piece of shit. But he was a fun piece of shit. It was just kind of fun to read about this fucking villain. So that was a little bit more of a tangent than I meant to talk about, since we were talking about MMOs and not strictly WoW.
Oh, I love MMA.
Of course you do, Joe. I know you love MMA. So let's see. I've already talked about grinding, and I've kind of touched on some of the bigger purpose of what an MMO is, which is like community interaction, getting to speak to and play with your other fellow players. This is where the role-playing game aspect comes into play.
Oh god, but do you guys use like old English when you talk to each? Like, ye brethren,
no,
you want to help me steal the gold? I don't know.
No,
I'm not real good with old English.
I'm a nerd, Joe, not a fucking loser. But I mean, I suppose you could, because it depends on the character you're writing, right? I don't feel like it's as encouraged in MMOs, which is why I was making that comparison to D&D earlier. So if it's not encouraged, it's basically just, if you're role playing, you're doing it because that's what you felt like doing, man. And that's cool. I mean, I've definitely met players who are playing a character. Some people, they don't even expressly tell you that they're playing a character. It's just, you're playing a game on the internet with a different facade. You know, it's like going on an image board online. Nobody knows who you are. You're anonymous, or you've renamed yourself something, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have to act the way you would in real life. You can act in a totally different way. And I suppose in a sense that's also role playing. But again, there's just nothing in MMOs that really encourage role playing, to at least as far as I can tell. I haven't really noticed it too much. But hey, I mean, if I'm wrong and that's what you enjoy, I'm also not like shitting on that.
I'm shitting on it. Go get a life.
You don't enjoy anything, Joe.
I do enjoy wonderful things like my family and mixed martial arts, booze, guns, tactical tomahawks. I've been having a lot of fun with those. I also like things like chopping wood and camping and like fishing and doing things that normal fucking people do.
Yeah, I'm still going to say half those things aren't good. You just crammed the bad ones in the middle so I wouldn't notice them. But I did, Joe.
Damn it. I thought I had you on that one. And like, I went to church for a little while, I guess. I mean, does that make me any better?
I went to school, Joe.
I mean, I went to school too, but mainly for, you know.
Because you were expected to by the state.
Well, yeah, that too. But also, I liked school. Believe it or not, I love English. I love English.
Oh, yeah. No,
I don't like math, though.
English, like, classes can be kind of cool.
Yeah, like, I loved reading books. But not on MMO roleplay. I fucked that up. MMORPG.
You got it.
Yeah, look at me. I'm learning.
Yeah, somewhat. So I'd say another thing that is, you can kind of do it in Dungeons and Dragons, but I'd say this is definitely more of an MMO thing, at least as far as I've noticed. Again, there is what a lot of people refer to as the holy trinity of roles. So in a lot of MMOs, you can pick from a multitude of classes. However, these classes are kind of boiled down to their basics of what they do specifically. So we'll start with what is referred to as the tank. The tank is the type of character that is built...
Of course we'll start with the tank.
Of course we'll start with the tank. The type of character who's built to take hits really well. And in some games, they're built to basically taunt enemies and say, hey, get over here and hit me, fucker. Like, that's their deal. They get in there
That's the role I play at work.
Yeah. Like, you are the meat shield. You're the one who's going, hey, come hit me, not this nurse. Come hit me. You know, that's what you do. You're the tank. They're often like the leader because you're going to be following them. You're not going to head like face first into a room full of enemies when your tank is the one built to do that. And some people call it like the easier class. But a lot of people will typically call any class they're not playing the easier class because nobody wants to be called the easier class. So I don't really have a preference in the matter. You still have to be smart enough to know what you can get away with as a tank. If you pull too many enemies, you're going to fucking die. You know? Yeah. And I'd say it definitely is something where like you need to be smart. You need to play right. And you need to make sure your DPS, which is the next role we'll be getting to, isn't pulling more enemies than you are because they will fucking die faster than you will.
Yeah, because they're stupid fucking elves.
Elves often are DPS classes, yeah.
Dipshits.
But a DPS is a damage per second type character. They are the ones who are dealing the most damage. It's not necessarily always like quick damage. Sometimes it can be something we call burst, where they deal a ton of damage, like boom in one attack. But their aspect, the thing they're focusing on as a class, is just dealing the damage. Tanks don't typically do it well. That's what separates the two. As a DPS, you're not built to take hits very well most of the time, which is why you rely on a tank to draw the enemies in. And then where the tank is standing, well, that's just a big meaty area where you can drop all your fucking damage on. You might be a spellcaster type where you deal a big fucking area of fire in that spot. And fortunately, friendly fire is not a thing, so your tank is fine from your attacks.
Oh, I would be so pissed if it was.
Right.
Like if I'm tanking it up in the middle and I'm taking these shots from my team, and all of a sudden my team's like, "Oh, by the way, you're
Here's
on
some fire
now, bro." Like, I don't want to be on that fucking team anymore.
Dodge this meteor.
Incoming.
This is probably the most popular class because people want to be the one getting away with, like, I did all the kills, I did all the work. You know, like, a lot of people get kind of a fat head about it when they play DPS. You're another role in a team, just like anyone else is, but you at least have the vindication of having a bigger number at the end of the game. Like, you did the most damage, you got the most kills, but that's what you do, right? Obviously. So, nothing wrong with it, but again, it's the most popular one, so I have to shit on it a little bit. And now the least popular one, because nobody wants to be this guy for some reason. The healer. So the healer is like
super important.
Yeah, and also like a fucking cat herder, because you have to watch your tank and your stupid ass DPS run into the middle of a fuck ton of enemies, get their asses handed to them, and then if you didn't heal them, if they pulled too many enemies and got themselves killed, who's the one they're blaming? Probably you. You didn't heal me well enough.
What the fuck?
You didn't focus
I'm
me.
on fire over here, and your ass is like, "Oh, I should probably watch this elf who's doing a bunch of damage." I am on fire, asshole. Get your healer ass over here.
Like, the healer, just like all the other classes, has to watch what they're pulling. You know, they have to watch what enemies are coming after them. They're probably standing farther away from the party, which means if they pull some enemies, they're alone. So they're trying to stay alive while trying to keep your dumb ass alive. But no, by all means...
I understand why no one wants to be a healer.
Yeah, I say, by all means, blame your healer, you fucking asswipe. That's why you'll find healers are typically the most jaded and fucking cold players, because they know what it's like. They're the ones who've been through war.
Oh, God. My luck, man. I'll be like sitting here like, I got stabbed 3 times. I'm down on the floor bleeding. And the healer comes up and he's like, "Hey, you're doing a real good job, buddy." I'm like, "What the fuck, bro?" He's like, "Oh, I'm just a positive healer," and then walks away.
I'm a ray of sunshine.
What? He's like, "Oh, I just do spiritual things. Here's a crystal. Have a nice day." Like, what
Here's
the
a
fuck?
healing crystal.
This is the worst goddamn healer in the world. I want off this team because now I've been stabbed. My asshole fucking... Was that DPS. No, DPS. My asshole double penetration over here set me on fire. Now I've got a healer who's like, "Here's some crystals." What kind of fucking team have I signed up for?
Yeah, it sounds like a mistake.
That's the worst goddamn MMORPG team I've ever even heard of.
Yeah, fucking
It's the only one.
Ranger Joe riding his bear into battle, and his team can't put 2 and 2 together and work fucking well.
They're just like the rejects of the World of Warcraft society. Oh, man.
It's like, everyone's seen how Joe role plays, so none of the good players want to play with him. So he gets the ass hats that don't work very well.
The one kid who, like, doesn't understand how to spellcast yet. Like, he's like, I don't know, like, Ice of Goliath or some kind of crazy shit, like where he launches like giant pieces of ice at you or something.
Right.
And all of a sudden the flower pops up. Like, son of a bitch. Like, this is the worst. How is this even why is this a spell?
I majored in healing magic, but I want to be a DPS. And he's trying to cast magic that doesn't work.
He's healing the enemy. Like, dude, stop. Wrong team. Wrong team, dude. Oh, so can I make my own character again?
Oh, yeah, Joe, I'm not going to stop you.
Do they have dwarves? Because I do like the dwarves.
Dwarves are in World of Warcraft, yeah.
Are they anything like Dungeons and Dragons dwarves?
They're essentially the same. Yeah.
So there are kind of tanks. Wait, are they a tank race? Who's the tank race? Are they orcs?
I think at this point in World of Warcraft, no races are like set to one trope. They probably have access to more tanks than the other ones.
Right. I presume the fairies don't have a tank.
There's no fairies in World of Warcraft, at least not playable ones.
Oh, okay. Well, I feel like the elves don't have many tanks.
Yeah, probably not. They're definitely... You can definitely be a paladin with some of the elf races. Because like I said, there are multiple elf races, and I'm pretty sure some of them can go paladin, which is like... they're tanky, but they have a little bit of healing magic.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah.
Fuck the elves.
They're like your typical heavy fucking plate mail with like a hammer in one hand and a shield in the other. And they heal you with like holy light and stuff like that. Typically. That's kind of like the ideal paladin image anyway.
I'm pretty sure that's what the Christians tried to do during the Crusades, but it wasn't exactly like that.
Yeah, it turns out ravaging a village and taking all of its gold isn't helping anybody. Weird. I didn't see that one coming.
Wait, can I go on raids in World of Warcraft?
Absolutely.
See? Can we raid elf villages?
So the term raid does exist in MMORPG. It's not really what you're thinking of. Although I think you can go into an enemy village and kill the NPCs. NPC is non-player character. So the dudes who are like running the shops or just living their life.
Just murder the shopkeep?
Maybe. I think you can damage
I take
them.
Stuff?
They'll definitely come back at some point, and I don't think you can take their stuff. That would be
Why am I
cool.
murdering the shopkeep?
You're a bastard.
I'm a gentleman. I'm not going to take his things and be like, die a slow, painful death now that you have no income. No, I'm going to be a fucking gentleman, murder him, then take his stuff.
Who told you you're a gentleman?
I told you.
They're fucking wrong. Oh, that explains it then.
My bear that I ride into battle with, he said I'm a gentleman. His name is Smokey.
He doesn't speak, Joe. He growls like you usually do.
Okay, so there are raids in World of Warcraft. Like, is there an overarching story, or is it just a bunch of asshats running around, setting each other on fire, and then I don't know?
Let me answer those questions like this: yes, yes, and yes.
Oh, wow. It's kind of chaos.
Yes. So there is an overarching story in World of Warcraft, and it stems from the story I told you earlier, where orcs came to Azeroth through a portal.
Oh, yeah, because there's the Alliance and the Horde.
Yeah. However, the story's evolved a lot past that and has touched on a lot of other topics that aren't necessarily just the Alliance and the Horde having a fucking shit war with each other. There was a bigger event known as the Lich King. I've told you about liches before.
I have. You have told me about Lich Kings. Liches.
In the World of Warcraft, there's a sword I think it's called Frostmourne, which is kind of an awesome name.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. That's pretty dope.
And when you get this sword, if I'm remembering this correctly, it slowly turns you into a lich. You're like a commander of the undead. You create the undead, you control them, you tell them what village to fuck up, that kind of shit. And I think the previous human king, Arthas, became the Lich King in this. I'm a little iffy on some of these ideas, but this particular expansion of World of Warcraft had everybody working together to go fuck up the Lich King, because he was a bigger threat than any of them wanted to deal with on their own. There's also the... Fuck, I don't remember what they were called. It was Crimson something, I think. Basically, the demons invaded. The ones I told you about that the orcs drank their blood.
Oh, yeah.
But they weren't picking sides. Demons were coming up from hell and were like, but fuck all of you. Which was kind of a mistake.
Like Doom? Oh, God, I love the Doom games.
Yeah, Doom's pretty fucking sick.
Dope game.
Yeah, I need to play some of those, actually.
Do it.
Because just tearing demons in half sounds fucking awesome.
Chainsaws, you can do it bare hands. Like,
yeah.
There's so many just ridiculous guns. Like, there's a shotgun that's pretty much just a fucking cannon.
Yeah.
Like, it's dope.
So that's what I liked about Gears of War, is your fucking guns had a chainsaw on them.
Chainsaw on them. That's dope, dude.
So, like, most of my kills were just chainsawing aliens in half.
I mean, of course you have to.
And my friends always
use it.
My friends were always like, you're not supposed to do that. And I'm like, fuck you, it's working. And then we'd get the wave of enemies that was like, kill them with chainsaws. And I was like, who's laughing now, asshole?
So fuck you and your pistol.
Yeah, no, the chainsaw's way cooler. You got me on a tangent though. But yeah, the demons come up and they're like, fuck everybody, which was a mistake on their part, I feel like.
Yeah.
Because now you have literally everybody coming to beat your ass.
Yeah, you can't just be like, fuck everybody.
But yeah,
it's very specific, like, fuck the elves.
As we've gone on, the story has changed in ways through what is called as expansion passes. So you bought World of Warcraft way back in the day, and you've had a subscription to it and whatever, right? But when they release more story, obviously they want to get paid for more story and more content. They wouldn't want to just do that for free, which they still maybe could have gotten away with because they're making money through other aspects. But that's a story for another time.
That's just American capitalism.
That's just the way it is. They obviously want to make more money. Who doesn't want to make more money?
Right.
So they sell these extra bits of story in something called an expansion pass. If you want to play the new raids, the new dungeons, fight the new enemies, get the new gear, level up to the new max level, you have to pay a certain amount to get the expansion pass. Pretty much all successful MMOs do this.
Yeah.
And the unsuccessful ones also do this. I don't know how many we're on with World of Warcraft. They just added a new expansion this year, at least, maybe a couple months ago.
People are still playing it?
Oh, yeah. A lot of people are still playing it. Yeah.
Because I always thought it was big, like, back in, like, the mid-2000s. Like...
Yeah. And I could look up the info on that. But essentially, pardon me, essentially its numbers have been dwindling, but they're still really high. Let's see.
I've never played it, obviously.
It looks like we're still looking around 4.88 million players.
That's still a large number, bro.
Yeah, and you have to realize all of those players are paying monthly to keep playing. So, World of Warcraft is a fucking moneymaker.
No, that's a huge moneymaker.
Yeah, like Blizzard has money for a reason.
I know Blizzard.
Yes.
I actually do know Blizzard. Do you know why I know Blizzard?
Why?
I used to play the Diablo game.
Yes.
It was the only nerd game I've ever really played.
Yeah.
My cousin got me into it, and I was like, oh, this is kind of cool. And then I don't know how I feel about the third one. I just didn't like it.
There are parts of the third one I don't really care for.
That's a hard take, but I just
two is way cooler. Two is like grittier and darker.
Two is
just a better atmosphere.
It was, and like it told a story. I feel like the third one didn't tell a story. Like it was just like, no, I'm one of those guys that like, I don't like to play online games because I'm sick and tired of getting quick scoped by a fucking 10-year-old. I'm not playing these online games. Like, I want to play my story. All right.
Yeah.
Play that character through a story, level up, and then replay that game and just slaughter everyone with all my new gear.
Exactly.
Okay. So like, I like games like Diablo that had the story to it. Like, I don't think this doesn't seem up my alley, but like, kudos to them, and kudos to nerds having friends. Even if it is online friends all over the globe, they're still friends. So you know what?
To answer your question, and this isn't like accurately researched, but just what I'm looking at from a base Googling, it seems like 2016 they hit a peak of about like 5.67 million. I said million players. Yeah. So we've definitely dropped. Here we are in 2020 with 4.88 million. But that's still a fucking lot.
That's still a lot. Like that. In everyday numbers, that's not a huge drop. You know what I'm saying? And like, I guess I can understand why people do that, because like I know this is a hot take, but I don't really care for Call of Duty. Like they're just putting the same shit out there as just repackaged next level bullshit. That's all it is. Like, at least you got games like World of Warcraft that's like, all right, it's this thing, but hey, check this out. We got a whole new side story, new shit for you to get, blah, blah, blah. I think more video games should do that. That would be super cool. Like, and we are kind of seeing them. Like, I've been playing the Assassin's Creed, and now it's like, oh, stay tuned for more. They call them like episodes or something.
Yeah.
And like, it's like $10-15 to buy the new episode, and it gives you like 3 or 4 new campaigns,
Right.
whole new like armor set, shit like that. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, the episodic style of gaming has been catching more favorable wins lately.
Didn't like it kind of start like with the like the RPG games and stuff like that? Like I remember one way back in the day called Baldur's Gate.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, I think Baldur's Gate had expansion passes.
I know Diablo had expansion packs.
Yes, it did.
Like I don't really know. I mean, obviously this is not my fucking realm, but like I know they kind of started doing that. I didn't really see that, because you had the games I played as a kid were completely different than the weird nerd shit you play. Like I played Madden, Call of Duty,
right?
Like all the
Madden might as well be expansion passes because you buy the new game every year.
Right, you buy the new game, but
you get like slightly sexier eyebrows for your boys.
Obviously, you have to. I mean, you seen that ass in those pants? Boom, you got to level that up every day. Keep the female audience, Well, the male audience, it's 2020. I don't give a shit anymore. I don't know. I like the RPG. Like you can make up your own shit, but I just don't have the attention span. I'm just gonna get that out there. Don't have the attention span.
Fair enough.
Don't want to grind. I grind 40 hours a week at this horrible job.
Yeah.
I don't want to do this.
It's definitely one of the biggest things from MMOs that it's why I don't play a lot. It's like I'm expected to probably play at least like 8 hours a week, like a fucking job.
That blows my mind how much these people just put into it. But I mean, if it's your thing, then yeah, no, that's cool. Like,
right.
Because I put a lot of time and a fuck ton of money into MMA, so who am I to talk?
Putting it more accurately, if you can work it into a healthy lifestyle, then more power to you.
Yeah, don't weeb out. No, that was Okaku.
Otaku.
Whatever.
I also
I'm not tacos.
I'm not saying. I'm actually definitely saying the opposite. I prefer to not have to work 40 hours a week. I feel like the 40-hour week, schedule that is like so hammered into us in the U.S. is like pretty fucked up. Nobody wants to work 40 hours a week. Right. It's kind of bullshit. But, definitely make sure you're not spending just as much time on an MMORPG when you have to pay bills and feed yourself.
Right. I mean, you gotta do that.
And maybe a little bit of exercise here and there won't hurt. I'm not saying all MMO players are fat asses, but
I'm not saying that.
Take care of yourself.
Take care of yourself. Get some sunlight. Do some push-ups. Eat a goddamn green vegetable every now and then.
Right.
You fucking...
Not just Taco Bell.
Mountain Dew, chugging, Taco Bell, shoveling. No sun having, mom's basement dwelling, horrible creatures of what I can only imagine as the night.
WoW playing, demon blood drinking.
Yeah, exactly. God damn it, Antichrist pieces of shit. Oh, the laziest, fattest Antichrist I've ever met.
Shitting in a bucket.
Or puking in what you thought was a bucket, apparently.
Right.
So, with this, you can go on different quests and different...
Sure.
Then you could apparently just do raids and shit. I mean, I'm with the whole raiding aspect thing, but I think they should just make it better raiding style. Like give me a real raid. Like I want to look. I'm just trying to burn things down. That's all I'm trying to do. I'm kind of upset with the new Assassin's Creed game because they won't let you burn a lot of things, and I'm like that.
You should play
that's kind of shit.
You should play an RTS.
What's
a real-time strategy. And if you've heard of Blizzard, then you might actually enjoy their other property, which is called StarCraft. In StarCraft, you can pick a faction, and then you build up an army. You build up buildings to supplement your army, make them stronger and all that. And then you run over to your enemy, and you fuck up their army. And you get to burn down and break down their buildings and shit. So maybe that's a little closer to what you want to see.
That's not bad.
There's also an MMO called RuneScape. I'm not sure how many other MMOs do this.
Oh, I have runes tattooed on my arm.
Yeah. That's not escape though. That's just your skin.
Oh. Well, rune skin.
RuneScape.
Oh, that's my new. That's the new name of my new character.
It is kind of a good name actually.
Look at that. I'm doing things.
I don't know if you can. I don't even know if you can still do this in RuneScape because I haven't played it a lot.
What if an orc and like a dwarf had a baby?
Well, no, shut up. Let me finish what I'm saying.
It's a dork.
And in this game, if you have a subscription, I think you can steal from NPCs. and you might be able to steal from shops and stuff. I'm not sure how in depth it is, but that's a little closer to what you're saying. There's also places in the game called a PvP zone. PvP is player versus player. So if you're in this zone, other players can just come up and just fucking kill you.
Damn,
right. Or you can do the same. You can run up to people and just fight them.
That's cool.
Yeah. So if you're not good at the game and you wander into one of these areas, prepare to get fucked up.
This is not going to end well for you.
It's probably not a good idea.
Like, all right, so check this out. How would I go about building my own team, World of Warcraft team? What do I need to have a decent World of Warcraft team? We're building a team right now.
Oh, geez. Okay.
I get to be the leader.
There are a couple answers to this, but let's just go with like a classic 4-man. You just got 4 players, right?
4 people. Let's do it.
So I would say you'd want a tank, 2 DPS, and a healer. And it doesn't really matter who they are. You can even do others if you want to. You could do like 2 tanks, 1 DPS, and a healer. You could even go no healers if you're crazy.
Jesus, that's a real kind of blitzkrieg ass strategy.
Exactly. It's like you better have 4 players who have some way of healing themselves regularly if you don't have any healers. But it goes back on what I was saying with the Holy Trinity. The Holy Trinity's called it for a reason. It's the 3 types of groups you most want to see in a party. You don't really want to go without one of these. You could even do 3 DPS and a healer, but you pretty much always want to have a DPS on your team. Otherwise, you're not dealing enough damage to win.
Yeah.
If you're not dealing enough damage, you're probably going to just stall out the inevitable. You're going to fatigue.
Right.
You're not getting through quick enough, and you're just going to die. So I would say overall, that's probably the ideal way of going about it.
So like the Holy Trinity is healer, DPS, and the tank.
Yes.
Right. Boom. Throwing me on another DPS guy, and then we're just gonna be like, hey, because I put that tank out front.
Yeah.
And he's like, hey guys, come get me.
Yeah. He draws.
So they're whooping his ass, and I've got the DPSs like shooting them. Will they purposely like, hey, fuck this tank. Let's go attack this healer.
Yeah. So it has different names depending on what game you're playing. In Final Fantasy, it's called Enmity. I actually can't pronounce it very well.
Anemone.
I shouldn't have tried because I can't pronounce it.
Sea anemone.
But it's generally referred to as aggro, like aggression.
Okay, right? yeah, aggro. Yeah. I played. God, what was that game?
There's a game with aggro in it.
You would legit you had to gain people's aggro to get them to stop firing off of you.
Oh, okay.
Army of Two, if you've ever played that game.
Ooh,
it's a dope game.
I haven't, but I've seen it.
Look it up. It's dope.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun with it as a kid. But you would have to draw aggro so your dude could sneak around and flank and get the guys.
Okay, so
cool. I understand what you're saying with the aggro kind of thing.
It's that, exactly. Because the guy drawing aggro is the tank, and the guy sneaking around the back is your DPS.
Okay, so they can move. They don't have to just be like, oh, turn-based bullshit.
No, and MMOs almost are never turn-based. There are a few that are, but World of Warcraft is not turn-based.
Yeah, because that shit's gay.
It's a lot more open.
Sorry, it's 2020. That shit's dumb.
There are cooldowns on your skills, so you can't just keep using the same skill over and over and over again unless it has a low cooldown. But still, I mean, it's not turn-based. You can think on your feet a little bit more. Tanks typically have skills to draw more aggro, like I said before, like with a taunt or something. But that doesn't mean it's perfect. Healers can also draw aggro by healing in a lot of games. So just healing your players will make the enemies go hey, fuck the healer up.
Maybe we should get this guy because he keeps bringing these other assholes back to life.
Exactly. It makes a lot of sense. So sometimes healers have to slow it down and not heal as much because healing draws a lot of aggro. And then, of course, DPS damage draws a lot of aggro. So your DPS players might have to slow down. In fact, there's a funny video of, players doing a raid in World of Warcraft online. And whether you're familiar with the phrase or not, it's kind of funny to just hear the raid leader, call out stuff. So he'll say things like start dots and stop dots. And if you don't know what that is, it just sounds silly. Because he's just sitting there going, stop dots, stop dots, stop dots. Dots is damage over time. And they just kind of refer to it as a plural just to kind of wrap everybody who's doing it in. So yeah, damage over time is dot. Get it? Makes
damage
sense.
over time. Yeah, it makes sense.
So he's saying stop doing your effects that cause damage over time because you're drawing too much aggro. Like, slow it down, stop it, let the tanks pick the aggro back up. Sometimes you just have to leave it to tanks so they can build their aggro back.
Like, tank, throw a chair at that guy. Like, get him pissed off.
Yeah. Tanks also typically have, like, you know, a DPS might focus one enemy at a time, or maybe like 2 or 3, and deal a ton of damage to them. Tanks have attacks that, like, hit everybody around them. Like, a common one...
piss them off somehow, right?
A common one is like Whirlwind, where you, like, hold your sword out and do a spin with your sword. You just, like...
This is not based in real combat.
It is not based in real combat at all. No, it's flashy. It's rule of cool first. Nobody gives a fuck about real martial combat.
Well, of course they don't, because they're nerds, Anthony.
Yeah, but in real martial combat, you also can't strike people with lightning, so...
tasers are a thing.
All right, true. Fair enough. You got me there. But lightning is a little stronger than tasers.
A little bit.
No, I mean, I think real life martial combat's cool also, but I mean, we're talking about MMOs, so we're talking about shit that just kind of looks MMOs? Awesome.
Do you?
No. Explain to me what you're talking about.
Night fighting championships.
Oh, right, yeah.
Literally night fighting champions. The Polish do this very well. There's competitions in Poland, there's competitions like in Great Britain and like Germany, all over the area. Except for France, because all they do is just surrender. But they dress up like medieval knights. I'm talking full plate armor, chainmail, everything. And obviously they're using blunted weapons. No one's getting hit with a legit sword that's got an edge. But
people do like real jousting.
Yeah, real jousting, like real 5-on-5, 10-on-10, 16-on-16 melees.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like that whole story of me LARPing. That's where I kind of got it from. You hit each other until somebody goes down. Someone goes down, they're counted as dead, they're out, you move on to the next guy.
Yeah.
And so it's like real world RPGs, except there's no stupid swirling whirlwind of stupid or whatever you were trying to do.
Spinning in a circle and is not going to affect anybody. You're going to hit one person and stop because you're not moving hard enough to hit everybody.
I should write a real world MMO.
Oh, I'm sure that would go great.
I think that'd be so funny. Like, whirlwind attack. Son of a bitch. All right.
So since we were talking about doing raids and stuff, I have a story here to kind of finish us off. It's both topical and hilarious. It's a crazy story.
I'm in.
It's based on a raid where one of the bosses you fight in it, I believe it's the last boss in it, his name is Hakar the Soul Flayer. Which is kind of fucking awesome.
Yeah, all right.
So back when this was released, which was on September 13th, 2005, which was my birthday, apparently my birthday gave rise to one of the biggest fucked up events in World of Warcraft history.
And the world.
People went into this fight against Hakar, and Hakar had an effect called Corrupted Blood. It was a highly transmittable debuff, or we can just call it a disease if you'd like, that he would give to players, and it would constantly do damage. This is what I was talking about earlier with dots. It's a dot. Damage over time.
Damage over time.
It would show up on your bar of buffs and debuffs. A buff and a debuff is something that affects your character for a certain amount of time. Maybe you cast something that made your defenses a little bit better. That's a buff. This is a debuff. You get to see how long it lasts on you and what it does exactly, and it's damage to you for X amount of time. It also had an effect where if you were close to another player, you transmitted it to them.
Is this Soul Flare from China?
We're getting there. So the idea was players were supposed to space out from each other so they didn't keep bouncing this disease back and forth. And it worked. I mean, it was fine. It worked the way it was intended. And it was supposed to clear itself when you left the instance. An instance is like, it's not a place where players will randomly be walking through. It is its own separate area where you and the people you went in with are the only ones in there.
Okay.
However, there was an oversight. It could affect anything summonable, like your pets. So Joe the Hunter, right, brought his bear into battle with him. And his bear got the corrupted blood debuff. Then Joe put his bear away. You can just do that in MMOs, by the way. You unsummoned your bear.
Cool.
Here's the problem. You shoved him in your backpack. Here's the problem with this. They didn't set it up to go away when you unsummon them. So when they left the instance and went back to the real, the regular world where other players were, Joe summoned his bear again in the middle of a big city.
It's dead.
No, worse.
Oh,
it still had corrupted blood. You're in the middle of a big city.
Someone summoned a goddamn bat,
with hundreds of other players and NPCs, which for some reason could also get this debuff. And your bear suddenly started spreading this disease. This is the beginning of one of the biggest epidemics in MMOs, period. This is fucked up on a crazy scale. Let me get into a little bit more of the data about it, right?
So is what you're telling me World of Warcraft created the goddamn coronavirus?
Yes. World of Warcraft had coronavirus before we had coronavirus.
Maybe it wasn't the Chinese guy that ate a bat. Maybe, just maybe, it was you fucking nerds taking vengeance on the rest of our jocks because they closed down gyms, Anthony. This is a greater goddamn conspiracy than you think it is.
Okay, World of Warcraft is big in China too. So
of course it is.
So one of the biggest issues of this is, like I said before, it can be transmitted to other NPCs. So like the dudes who just ran shops in cities, or the dudes who like the knights they just put there for like world building, just to make it look prettier. Like you just had some people protecting the city gates. They got corrupted blood too, but they couldn't be killed. They would live at 1 HP. HP is hit points, health points.
Oh yeah.
When you go below 1 HP, you're dead. But they would never go below 1. They would also never lose corrupted blood. Oh. They were too close to each other and kept transmitting it. So cities became hotspots for corrupted blood.
Oh my God.
This prompted players to quarantine. Players would stop going into cities. Players would stop going near each other. Some players just stopped playing the game so they wouldn't get corrupted blood. Now, here's the thing about at least World of Warcraft, and most MMOs are this way. When your character dies, it's not permanent. They're not permanently dead. So that's a plus. It is, however, very inconvenient, especially because a lot of times you might come back to life in a city.
So, God, no.
If your level's low enough and corrupted blood is killing you fast enough, you might not have a good option for escaping the hotspots where corrupted blood is. This epidemic lasted, let's see, I had a note for it. Where was it? It lasted 1 week. Because eventually the developers, they knew right away what the fuck happened.
Joke's on you, asshole. It's going to be more than a year.
Right. It didn't last more than a year. But the developers, since this is a video game, obviously they can just like essentially flip the switch. But it did take a week, which is kind of crazy. Of course, the developers knew right away when, it started becoming a big fucking deal. They were working towards the best solution to make it go away. It's just crazy that it did take a week. That is like a long time for people to just not play the game. And it's just, it's funny. Firsthand accounts talk about going, near cities and just seeing the streets littered with bodies. Just player characters.
No, that's just the south side of Chicago.
Just dead bodies in the streets all over.
Jesus.
Funnily enough, epidemiologists studied this incident. They were doing studies, research, asking players who saw it happen firsthand because they wanted to see if there were any parallels that could be drawn from, an epidemic that might happen in real life.
That's crazy. That's crazy because, yeah, it is a video game, but there is almost some kind of like real world stuff that you can actually find out. That's really cool.
Yeah, the way I talked about how players literally quarantined. They wouldn't go into cities because cities were hotspots. So, I doubt, maybe doubt's too strong a word. There's probably not too much that we've learned from World of Warcraft's corrupted blood incident that helped us better handle Corona. I mean, if you look at the US, we obviously didn't handle Corona like at all.
There's a lot that goes into that, though.
Yeah, that's a topic I don't want to touch on this week. But the fact that this was a thing that happened and people like treated it like it was a real fucking thing. There were, of course, what we call trolls. People got the fucking corrupted blood debuff and ran around giving it to people just for the fun of it.
I feel like there's those people in real life too.
There's definitely those people in real life. Not the same number.
Well, yeah, that number's not going to be anywhere near as high, but
because we're talking about fictional characters,
right?
If they die, it's funny. It's not a big deal. When Corona's being spread around in real life, it's not so funny.
Not so funny when Grandma's dead.
Exactly. So it's just something when I was researching MMOs this week, I remembered this because this was a big deal. I heard about it and it's fucking hilarious. It was even funnier before coronavirus.
Right. Now it's a stark reality.
Exactly.
Holy shit.
It was just so topical. I had to talk about it. It's just a crazy oversight that turned into a social experiment in a way. Before I begin wrapping up, I wanted to touch on something. I've done light research on it in the past, but unfortunately I didn't think to do any this week. So I'm kind of ad-libbing a little bit what I know about it. There's a game called EVE Online, and if you've heard this name, you probably know what story I'm going to tell you already. EVE Online is, think of it like a Star Wars or a Star Trek kind of game. There's massive
I've already checked out, but keep going.
Fucking spaceships. You're flying them through space. I think a lot of the in-game interactions are like trading. Like you're trading things to various other players or NPCs. It's kind of a commerce game. You're looking to like make a ton of in-game money. But the funny thing about
Why
EVE,
don't you just do that in real life?
Listen, shut up, Joe. The thing about an EVE is there are ways to make real world money. Not really like on the up and up, but it's such a highly played game, and there's like such demand for certain things in game. You can walk away with real money or make like real investments in the game with real money. So, I do not have these names pulled up. I could maybe find them in like a second. Forget it. So there were two guilds in EVE, right? Two big groups of people. And between them, they had a fuck ton of money, like real world money. Like in some of these ships that you could fly in space, like literal thousands of dollars could go into them.
Jesus.
And just to kind of put it simply, because again, I haven't freshly researched this or anything. Not a Romeo and Juliet type situation. There were two individuals in both these groups who kind of didn't like each other and ended up sabotaging each other in a way that turned catastrophic.
Whoops.
What became a shitty little slapping contest between two people who were probably relatively high up, I don't remember, turned into all-out intergalactic war. I remember when this was happening because I was watching videos on it and watching like this war went on for real world days. People were fighting each other. And it just kind of started up from two people being assholes to each other, but they kept throwing bigger ships at each other. It was not good. I really need to see if I can find an estimate for how much money was lost in this because it is insane.
As a full grown ass man with a family, it blows my mind that people are dumping multiple hundreds, if not thousands of dollars into a made up virtual goddamn video game.
Okay. An estimated cost, $300,000 to $330,000 US was lost.
That's a substantially beautiful house.
Yeah, exactly. Granted, this is between, groups of people. So it's not just like one person was taking this big fat loss. That is a lot of money, even for a group of people.
Yeah, for a group of people, that's still 300,000 plus. You could feed a lot of fucking people with that money. All right, you could cover a lot of hospital bills, and by that I mean you could probably cover for like 2 people's ED trips. So
yeah, 2,
but
maybe
you
2, 1.5.
Right? You asshats are just throwing money at a game that proves nothing. Nothing.
Okay, so it began when someone thought he could essentially sneak away with stealing some in-game items. He was stealing in-game items that were worth about the estimate of like $5,000. So like pretty decent, right?
You just committed virtual grand fucking larceny.
Exactly, yeah.
Jesus Christ.
I mean, which is like, I would say probably kind of typical in this game. Maybe not to that number. That's a pretty high number. But when someone sees you getting away with like $5,000 of their money, they send a ship at you to blow you up. And then people on your side are like, well, fuck you, and send a ship to blow them up. And it's a domino effect. So, I mean, I think some people probably are not doing well after a big hit like that. And I feel sorry for those people.
I hope they're not. Fuck those guys.
I mean, they were playing a money game. These people had money. No poor person was playing Eve.
Okay,
and
touche,
just lost
touche.
money. So I guess I can't sit here and be like, I kind of feel bad for those people. There's a part of me that kind of does. They lost a lot of money. But at the same time, there were probably people who could afford to lose a lot of money. They're not living in the streets now, right? I highly doubt they're living in the streets now. They were playing a video game.
I hope they are. Fuck those people.
It is a very funny incident.
They just started blowing each other up, and 300,000 plus later, they're like, all right, we're done.
Yeah.
We're done. The wife is pissed off. Like, I've been sleeping on the couch for 2 days.
I'm not allowed to play anymore.
She got the internet off the house. Like, that just blows my mind as a guy who, bitches about paying his phone bill this month.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
Yes, as a normal, just blue-collared guy, that blows my mind that people would have that much money to just fucking throw around like
invest in a video game.
Assholes.
Yeah.
Like, you could invest that money into so many other things. Like,
True.
A child's fucking future, Anthony.
Right.
Like, that makes me sad. That makes me sad.
Nice. Well, that means I've won.
I'm gonna go punch a rich person on the way home.
Please do. I'm gonna go knock out the 1% real quick.
Fuck you, Bill Gates. I almost said Steve Jobs, but I was like, oh no, he's dead.
Yeah, no, it can't do anything to him now. Well, you wanna wrap it up, Joe?
Yeah, I mean that sounds good. That was a solid episode.
What do you think? You got any questions?
No.
No snarky
I didn't
comments?
retain much.
I know.
Yeah, other than fuck the elves, because apparently they suck in this game too.
Fuck the elves and fuck the 1%.
Right? I just say. Also, World of Warcraft created goddamn coronavirus. All right? They created it because that was their test run. Here's where I'm going with this. I'm going to go a little down what I like to call the Kathy rabbit hole here. And if you work with us, big shout outs to you, Kathy. You're my homie, but
we
you
really
go to some
appreciate
real
you.
weird shit.
But this you kind of built this demon yourself.
You built this demon yourself. Okay, so what if that was their goddamn trial run? All right, back to 15 years later, some asshats
the Chinese government planned this.
No, it's not even Chinese. It's some asshat
It's
in
just
his mom's
Blizzard.
basement working for Blizzard. He's like, hey, so I got this thing.
Well,
It's corrupted blood. No, that's coronavirus. He's like, you don't know that yet. And like, he just took the flu with like 4 other things, mixed them up in a jar, because that's how science works.
I think so. Yeah.
And like, gave it to a bunch of people. He's like, guys, check this out. I fucked around. Now everybody's got corrupted blood. And here's the thing. It wasn't meant to take out the nerds, because they know the nerds are already secluded in their house.
Right, exactly.
Okay? They don't have friends. They're not going out to socialize. They're taking aim at me. All right?
Yeah.
The dudes who are like, yeah, I like to go to the gym. I like to go to the bar with my friends. I like to have fun. I like to have, girlfriends and whatnot. And they were like, yeah, fuck that. They bullied me all my life. Blah, blah, blah. Woe is me. I'm going to give them all coronavirus. So, like, it slowly took root in China. And then he was like, holy shit, this has gotten a lot bigger than what I thought it was. Let's go fuck up America. Like, because, I mean, when it comes to this level, it's not hard to fuck us up.
They waited for a certain time, let's put it that way.
Yeah, they waited for a certain time.
Where a lot more Americans would be stupider than normal.
They knew what this time was. So, like, now they're like, oh, man, we're going to shut down, like, restaurants and bars. And they're like, ha, ha, ha. Now you know how it feels to have no friends, asshole. And now I'm getting fat and pasty like the rest of these degenerates because my gym was closed for the longest time.
Joe,
now I'm pissed off. Fuck World of Warcraft. And fuck those little dweebs, too. I don't like you anymore.
Your butt's a little chafed, dude. You sound a little pissed off.
A little. I lost everything to you fucking WoW little degenerates, all right? Because y'all fucking created coronavirus. And here we sit because some guy from Blizzard had to fucking go take the flu and do horrible things with it, and now people are dead. How does it feel, WoW? How does it feel?
Do people make fun of you on the internet, Joe? Do people hurt you?
Yes.
You sound like you're hurt.
You realize how many 10-year-olds I've been quickscoped by? All right? I'm just saying, you realize how many people have called me horrible racist names when obviously I'm not of said race.
Right. Joe, nobody's out to hurt specifically you, or at least as far as I know. I mean, I'm sure you're
hurting my people because this is a race war. All right, it's not even a race war.
No, let's not call it that.
Sociological war. All right, this is a sociological war, and I'm coming after you, dweeb fucks. All right, I am done with it. Reopen my gym. Give me the cure. Where is this little bastard?
Well, all right, you're under the implication that anyone's worried about what jocks are doing, especially like nerds. Why would they care? 2,
because we are the
also
superior
with
race,
A and then
Anthony.
Said 2. You're sitting here telling me that the people who are attacking you are mad because they were bullied their whole lives.
Yeah.
Maybe that's your fault.
Oh.
You created your own villain, Joe.
I did not create my own villain because I was cool with those kids.
If you didn't bully nerds,
They
Joe.
bullied me. They told me I couldn't.
You knocked that kid to the ground.
All right, look. All right, no, that's not it. I played his game, and they told me I wasn't welcome back to that game. Who's the bully now,
You didn't play a game, Joe. That was assault. You're lucky he didn't press charges.
There's no court evidence that it was assault, Anthony.
He broke his arm.
I didn't break his arm.
All right, well,
he might have a concussion, but like, yeah, years of Muay Thai. All right, all I'm saying is I'm not a bully, and you guys are bullying me because you got my gym shut down. All right, now it's back up and running, but for God knows how long, because you assholes launched Wave 2 of the coronavirus. Okay, you took everything from me. You took everything. Give it back, Anthony. Give it back.
There was never a Wave 2. People are just stupid.
So you admit that your weeb kind started this because you didn't deny. You knew of like Wave 1 and a possible Wave 2, but we haven't even launched Wave 2 yet. Is that your game, Anthony?
No,
is that your game?
I'm saying
you want me fat and pasty? Is that what you want?
I'm saying there's no Wave 2 because nobody could have planned for people to be stupid enough to go, oh, there's an epidemic. Let me breathe down your throat real quick.
I'm just saying, you guys wanted to be us anyway. Because what do? First thing you do when you make an MMO character, you make them big with brawny muscles.
No.
And like...
I'm going to stop you there. My first MMO character was a wizard.
Wow, okay, yeah, let's shout that to hell.
Yeah. Why
a wizard?
My first MMO character became a bard. He played with a guitar. He healed people with music. I'm not remotely close to someone whose ass is a little chafed because jocks exist. If you want to live your life, my ass is a little
chafed because you guys took everything from me.
It does not bother me in the slightest.
Blizzard.
If you like to enjoy yourself a beer with friends or go and work out, and if your deal is getting stronger and leaner and buffer, then like shit, dude, respect to you. But for me, I play video games. I just want to go
How am
online.
I supposed to start a sociological war when you're being cool about this? I am trying to ignite a fire, and you just keep dousing it with water.
The problem, Joe.
Stop it! Argue with me.
You approached me with controversy, and that was mistake number one.
Shit on it.
Because approaching me with controversy is always a bad idea. Because I'm always like, yeah, but what if you looked at it from this aspect?
I'm just gonna downplay it. I'm not gonna fuel your fire. I'm gonna stomp it out. Like,
I don't even stomp.
How dare you?
I don't even stomp. I walk away and your fire fizzles out.
I'm like a child. You just have to let me go until I tire myself out.
I let you have your tantrum, and I'm like, that's cute. Don't you feel stupid now?
Fuck you, Anthony. Next time you need backup for a sec, I would be like, hey, barge your way out of this, asshole.
And then I'll have a pleasant conversation. It'll be like, there was no barging at all. And I'll be like, Joe, not every interaction involves barging. You just thought that was the case.
All I'm saying is I got hired for the muscle, but I will. You are kind of like a real life bard. You can talk people down a lot more efficiently than I can, because apparently when I tell patients to fuck around and find out, it's slightly frowned upon.
They take it as a threat.
Like, look, dude, if you want,
or just to go ahead.
If you want to fight, just know that I'm gonna be your last guy. Don't fucking do this. Sit down. Just look. Watch TV. How hard is it to watch TV?
Right? Yeah, it shouldn't be.
I'm just saying.
I don't know if I'd want to watch TV, especially now.
Oh, God, I don't want to watch TV.
For like 12 to 60 hours.
Right. Oh, God, man. In a room. Oh, mental health in this country is fucked.
Mental health is fucked. That's an episode for another day.
Anyway, now that I've ranted, tried to start a socio-economic, or not even a socio-economic, just a sociological war that Anthony refused to play into.
You picked a fight with me, and that doesn't work.
I know now you're not a fighter. You're just going to destroy everything that I love and then take it away from me and then tell me you didn't take it away from me. Oh my God, you're the government.
Somehow that hurts more.
You're the government. That's beautiful.
Because Joe would prefer if I hit him with a few punches.
Right.
He's been fine with that.
In the face, Anthony.
Now he's gonna go. He's gonna drive home in silence, no radio on even. He's gonna sit down, and Roxy's gonna be like, "Joe, are you okay?" And he's just be like, "I don't know right now."
I don't know. It didn't happen the way it usually happens.
Usually they hit me. Anthony didn't hit me.
He didn't hit me. He just talked at me, and I don't like this talking thing.
He used word. Word hurt.
All right, I'm done. Fuck this guy. I will see you guys next week.
Yeah, have a good week, everybody.
Possibly.
Stay safe out there.
Don't have a good week. Fuck you guys.
Love you.